Hello there. You're welcome to another lesson, even in ecology, part of our series, which is adaptation. Now, moving along, at the end of this lesson, learners should be able to define and explain the concept of adaptation. They should be able to state the importance of adaptation, describe and give examples of morphological, physiological, and behavioral adaptations. State the adaptive features of some living organisms and their functions. Now let's get along with the lesson. Now, what is adaptation? Adaptation is the ability of living organisms to live successfully in their habitat as a result of change in behavior, function, and the structures they possess. Adaptive features are the features possessed by an organism to enhance its survival in its habitat. Now, moving along, we'll start with the types of adaptation. Now, we have three types of adaptation. These are the structural, also called morphological, physiological, which is also called functional, and behavioral adaptation, as you can see in this picture here. Structural adaptation describes physical features that helps an organism survive. Behavioral adaptation are actions done on purpose to help with survival, while physiological are involuntary actions or change which could be as a result of cell activity or autonomic nervous system. Now, looking at these types of adaptation, one after the other. Structural adaptation. This adaptation is due to external features possessed by an organism, and as you can see in this picture here, we have examples of structural adaptation. We have the zebra that has camouflage, which is part of the structure of his skin, which helps it to blend into his environment to avoid predators. Now we have the giraffe that has long neck, which is its adaptive feature, which helps it to be able to obtain even food from trees. We have this dinosaur here that has sharp teeth, which is adapted or helps it to be able to catch prey. The horn of this goat that you see right here, which helps it to defend itself against predators, and so on. So these are examples of structural adaptations. Moving along, we are going to be looking next at physiological adaptation. Now, physiological adaptation is due to changes in physiology or internal environment of an organism to enable it to survive. It is also called functional adaptation, and we have examples of functional adaptation here. One is chemical. Venomous bites or stings from snakes, bees, and spiders. Poison production, which is found in dart frogs, puffer fish. Ability to change color of skin, which is chameleon. Internal systems are more efficient. Organs: kidney in desert animal, fast storage in hump of camel, production of blood thinners in mosquitoes. In other words, functional adaptation helps an organism to survive in its environment. A classic example is human beings. When we are found in a hot environment, our bodies produces sweat, which when evaporated causes the temperature of our skin to cool down. So this is a classic example in physiological adaptation. This has to do with change in the functioning of our body in order to survive changes in our environment. Now finally, we'll be looking at behavioral adaptation. This is brought about by change in behavior of organisms in order to survive. Now, when it comes to behavioral adaptation, we have inherited behavior and learned behavior. Inherited behavior such as migration is an example of behavioral adaptation. In this case, examples are birds which move away from a certain habitat when there is not enough food or water for it to survive. Hibernation, which is carried out by bear, which they seclude themselves or stay in a cave throughout winter and come out during summer. Nocturnal animals that we have in the desert habitats, which during the hot temperatures of the day, they stay in caves. They are not active and they come out at night in order to find food. Defensive behavior, mating and courtship behavior. These are all behavioral adaptations. Learned behavior, how to find food, making a shelter, how to communicate, how to get along in a group, looking out for predators. These are also another form of behavioral adaptation, which is learned behavior. Now moving along, we have examples of animal adaptation here. This one is sharp quills for protection by this animal, long ears for cooling in fox, white color for camouflage in bears, hump for water storage in camels, hibernation even in bear, migration in birds. These are all examples of structural and behavioral adaptation found in animals. Examples of plant adaptation: we have animal ear plant. It has very large leaves so it can soak up sun for growing on the shady rainforest floor. Mesquite tree. Its very long roots helps it to find water in very dry places. It's a desert tree. We have the dandelion, which has seeds that can be carried by the wind to grow in new places. And we have the cactus plant, covered in spikes to protect it from animals and also to reduce water loss due to transpiration. So in summary, we can see that adaptation is the ability of living organisms to live successfully in their habitat as a result of change in behavior, function, and the structures they possess. Adaptive features are the features possessed by an organism to enhance its survival in a habitat. And finally, there are three types of adaptations. These are structural, physiological, and behavioral adaptation. Now this brings us to the end of our lesson for today. I want you to go through this assessment, pause this video, endeavor to answer the questions, and I'll see you again in our next lesson.